Welcome, foolish creatures, to another episode from Fright Chasers. You'll hear spooky calls from our haunted hotline, stories plucked from another dimension with tales from the beyond, oddities galore in news from the beyond, and haunting interviews with your ghost host, Woody G. Watts. Welcome to the Fright Chasers.
This is your host, Woody G. Watts, with Fright Chasers and another new episode of News from the Beyond, with news headlines and updates for this week in August. Today is August the 18th. That's when this is going to be released. So these are some top headlines that I saw that interest me, that are kind of odd out there. News from the Beyond and updates from everything we have going on in Thrashers Lake Entertainment, marketing, all that good stuff. Some behind the scenes of the odd stuff that we're constantly getting into. Last week, if you listened to our last episode of News from the Beyond, I discussed how Bigfoot was going to be in the news the next day after recording. And so what all that was that if you remember that episode, we are involved in a campaign for the town that that I have my studio in the town of Bedford, and we were asked to help with the marketing campaign with this new app that they have that helps people to scavenger hunt, kind of look around the area, the town, find new businesses. It's really cool. It's just a really neat thing. And they reached out and said, hey, would you help us do a billboard, some marketing? And I kind of pitched the idea. I said, listen, I'm a huge Bigfoot fan. I think Bigfoot, there have been many sightings in Bedford. I would love to kind of get into that a little bit. How about we have Bigfoot be the spokesperson for this app? And they loved it. So we did a billboard. I talked about that in the last episode, have the pictures on the website, frightchasers.com. Go to News from the Beyond. You'll see all the pictures. But last Friday, we had a live appearance of Bigfoot in a news segment that will run this week. Okay. So in that segment, I was the fortunate one to use the Bigfoot costume that I have. And it was so hot. Oh my! Okay, so the news crew was fantastic. They were really into it. They enjoyed it. They were actually there for like an hour and a half, which was amazing because usually the news, they're in and out. They actually took the time, got tons of B-roll of me in this suit and having fun, showing the app, scavenger hunting in Bedford. We did this on the side of the road on the main street in the town. So as you can imagine, we almost caused several accidents. People were snapping their heads back and forth, waving. Everybody loved it though. Everybody was waving, smiling, and I had several trucks pass me as I was waving to them as Bigfoot, saying that they've been looking for me for a while. They finally found me, so that was super fun. But I'm gonna be honest with you, once I took the costume off, I was wringing wet. It was so hot. I forgot how hot that costume was. However, I have a couple of photos of behind the scene photos on the website. You can see where we were just kind of playing, goofing around. It was fun. And this costume looks fantastic. I love it. And it is on the billboard. We're going to get some stickers made. And so Bigfoot is going to blow up in Bedford. And it's going to be awesome. And I'm glad they went for it. And I'm excited. And we're actually going to use him in some other stuff. So that's the type of week that we have. I mean, that's a typical fun week where we just get to do this crazy stuff, which is kind of funny because back in the day, I kind of hid my passion for the unexplained. And then once I started letting it out, I just no stopping it now. So and in other Bigfoot news, I was a guest on another podcast in the area. A technology company had reached out, and that will be released in September, and I'll be sure to talk about that and release that on the website. But we talked about marketing, technology, and of course, Bigfoots and UFOs and ghosts came into the conversation, which I always love when just it always comes up, which is it's super flattering that whenever someone wants to talk business or whatever, that you've kind of got this cool thing that they're itching to bring up, and it's just fun and it's exciting. So I am always game to talk about that. So that was a fun interview. We talked again about how technology has changed marketing, and then my approach to bringing in just the odd and unexplained and how that kind of grabs people's attention. So it has been truly a week filled with Bigfoot and Bigfoot talk and Bigfoot design. And I love it. It's probably been one of my most fun weeks in a while. So I will take it anytime. And then actually today another thing happened. So on Wednesdays, we record at the studio. We record about five to seven podcasts for local organizations. Okay. So they come in, they rent the studio. We do the sound for them. We provide all the mics, the table. Like the studio just looks cool for them to come in with their guest. And they each have a show. Like, these organizations have their own radio show. And so I never know who's going to come in, the guest or whatever. I know the hosts that come in, but they're always bringing guests in and having a good time. And today's show, or one of today's shows that came in at noon today, had a band. Well, a guy from a band, because they're doing this event this weekend that's pretty cool. But he's playing in a band this weekend, and he instantly saw my Fright Chaser sign. Okay, so I have a brand new Fright Chaser sign hanging on the wall. It's pretty big, can't miss it, super bright. But it immediately got him talking. Like, he was like, "Is that you? Do you do that?" It's like, "Yeah, we have a podcast. We have a website. We do some this, that," kind of went into details. And then he proceeded to tell me a bunch of his experiences. And he had some pretty good ones. So much so that he's going to be on a future episode because all we wanted to talk about was his experiences in some old hospitals that he has been in the area, because he's in IT. So he mentioned that he has gone to like the old hospital close to where we live, and there have been numerous reports there and other buildings in the area. So it was just a fun, I probably brag about my studio a lot. I don't mean to brag, but I'm just super proud that, people who I've never met, and they come in, they record for a small business podcast, that it instantly they see something, they see a sign, they see a Bigfoot graphic or something, and it just brings a smile to their face. And that's why I love it. I absolutely just love this kind of world that I get to live in my own head, and wouldn't trade it for anything. And I love the studio. So, and other odd, it's not really odd news, but just to give you an update, I have been personally going back through and watching all of the Friday the 13th movies. Okay. So I started with one, and I have gone all the way through to last night. I watched Jason Goes to Hell. And all right. I have to say, like, I really, you read the reviews on some of this, like some of these like slasher films, and they do get bashed, and they are their own genre, the retro, the 80s style ones. But I have to say, I have loved every single one of it. Now, my favorite so far, which is kind of an odd one to say that's my favorite, is number 3. Okay. And I'll tell you that I watched it in 3D. It's because it was done in 3D. And maybe that's why. I don't know. But it was the one where Jason gets his mask, for once. He becomes the Jason that we kind of all know from the later movies, and just a big hockey mask wearing, bad guy. But I absolutely loved number 3 because I watched it in the old school 3D, the red cyan, the red blue glasses. I just loved it. So just a glimpse at my past week has been filled with Bigfoot, ghost talk, and literally every night watching a Friday the 13th. So I kind of live in this just odd bubble world where I'm always scouring for like just these weird headlines, because the actual national politics and headlines just they just wear me down. So I'm looking for the weird stuff that is not really reported, and then at night I escape and watch old school horror movies. And I have Jason X coming, and Freddy versus Jason. I have seen Freddy's versus Jason. It's been a while, But I do have those two movies coming in on DVD because I refuse to buy them on streaming because they're way too expensive. And I looked for the other ones on streaming, and again, they were just way too expensive. I was able to buy the DVD for like a third of the price. So I've actually gone back in time and am getting away from streaming and going back to physical media because it's just something about it, y'all. It's just something about it. And that brings me to some more odd news and your news from the beyond. So we have what appears to be a shape shifter in Mexico. Get this. White crosses have been painted on front doors in the city of Mexico in an attempt to ward off what is believed to be a supernatural shapeshifter. Several people in the community of Cocoyoc, I said that right, heard series of mysterious sounds 2 weeks ago that didn't seem to come from a person or an animal. According to a local media report, many residents become convinced that the reason for the commotion was a particularly pernicious entity from Mexican folklore after hearing the puzzling noises. The residents of Cocoyoc, where traditional beliefs are still strongly held, suspect that the noises are being caused by a supernatural being called a Nagul. These mischievous entities are reputed to be able to shapeshift into different animals at night and cause great misfortune to humans. Many residents have painted white crosses on their doors as a measure of protection against the sinister entity, and they refuse to leave their homes after 10 p.m. at night, out of concern that they may cross its path. While those who have modified their front doors to fend off the Nagul, are quite serious in their beliefs, news of the fur unfolding in Cocoyoc has caused the community to be ridiculed on social media in Mexico, with many people making memes mocking what they think to be silly superstitions. Considering the unfortunate online response to the situation, historian Gustavo Garibay said that the Cocoyoc is a cultural stronghold where they still have practice of magic and healers until relatively recently, and therefore demanded greater respect from those who have made fun of the situation. All right, my little commentary for this, I'm just going to plug this in. Let's not make fun of them. Nobody make fun of these people, okay? Because there's some weird stuff happening, and we don't know what happens in other countries. And if they are painting white crosses over doors out of what they believe to be a shapeshifter, I'd probably err on the side of caution, and I would be behind my door as well. But that is terrifying. Just think if you were in that situation, and you kept hearing these noises, and there's this legend of this shapeshifter going around. I'd paint my door in a heartbeat and hide out, and then just whatever, y'all can make fun if you want to, but go to the website. I've got some pictures of the community there, so that is super, man. That makes me want to go there now. Gosh, now I'm like, I want to, yeah, maybe later. Okay, another Bigfoot story to make you say, "Aw." Did you know Bigfoot is a matchmaker? I bet you didn't, did you? So this is actual news story recently. I'm going to play the audio from that news story now. Let you hear the audio. But it is Bigfoot brought this couple together. It's such a cool little story. Here's the story, and I'm going to play the audio for you. Following a chance encounter, an Arkansas couple had a bumper sticker that said, "I break for Bigfoot," which led this lady to ask him about it. And then they started talking, and then they had the similar experience, basically. So it started a conversation over something that had happened to them. So it's a very cute story. All right, here's the audio, and it's very sweet. And I love this because it includes Bigfoot and romance, and I'm a sucker for that. So enjoy.
Some people are certain they've seen Bigfoot. In Nash County, 2 people are united in their belief.
It was pitch black.
Debbie.
We were walking down through the woods.
Darren.
Real hairy, had long arms.
And it was approximately about 7 foot tall.
Darren and Debbie.
Same area, same time frame. We're about the same age.
But they did not know each other years ago, at the time they each say they saw Bigfoot in the woods of Nash County.
This creature come running from my right to my left, broad daylight, in the open woods.
This Bigfoot walked out of the woods from our right and just stopped in the road. My mom stopped the car, so we're sitting there staring at Bigfoot. He's staring at us, and we didn't know what to do.
The best I can describe is what people would call a Bigfoot. I was scared so bad that I couldn't move.
Do you think you might have been mistaken?
No, I remember it vividly.
I saw what I saw.
But for the most part, they both kept what they saw to themselves.
Almost spot on, pretty much.
But they saw what they saw separately, neither knowing the other, until a chance meeting.
We lived in the same community or close enough that we visited the same convenience store.
And there was a truck there that had a magnet on it that said, "I brake for Bigfoot."
Darren's truck.
And I was like, wow, I got to find out who that is. I want to know where they got that magnet.
And I said, well, I got to tell you the whole story.
And then I told him my story, and, you know, we were both amazed that we had both seen Bigfoot about the same time in about the same area.
Almost miraculous, because what's the odds?
The odds. And the evens. Their descriptions matched. And in time, they did too.
Yeah, I think Bigfoot's what brought us together.
In matrimony.
Bigfoot was a theme of our wedding, but I didn't know we was going to have a visitor.
Bigfoot.
I was surprised we had a guest.
I guess there's no point in asking you if you believe in Bigfoot.
Oh, I believe. Yeah, there's no doubt.
I do.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Bigfoot's what brought us together. I love that. Y'all, that needs to be a movie. That needs to be a rom-com where Bigfoot brought two believers together. I love this story. This story made me smile. I love it. I hope you love it as much as I did. And our last story, I'm bringing in the ghost. I'm kind of bringing in everything today. Okay, this one got me. Okay, because ghost stories kind of fly under my radar sometimes, unless they really catch my eye and I actually see the video and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, so I have this video on the website. It's embedded there. Take a look, see what you think. I've watched it a couple of times and yeah, it gets me. So, according to the proprietor of a purportedly haunted pub in Britain, a mischievous ghost was responsible for an incident in which a patron's pint of beer fell off of a table. Security cameras at the Ring o' Bells Tavern in Kendal captured the strange event on video last month. Several patrons at the bar are surprised as a pint of beer slowly topples onto an empty chair after sitting on a table for a short time. As the pub's manager, Scott Dawson, explained, the glass was set on the table for a while before moving. Nothing triggered the movement. It's as if there is a presence. According to him, pints have mysteriously tipped over in this area of the pub more than once, and the table has been switched in an effort to resolve the issue, but spills have persisted. Dawson suspects there's a supernatural explanation for the event, although skeptical observers may say that condensation caused the glass to slide along the table. A manager suggested that one of the site's resident spirits might have caused the spill, given that the nearly 3-century-old establishment has a reputation for being haunted. Many psychic mediums have surmised that the pub's cellar once housed a well, making it a popular destination for paranormal investigators. A teenager named Edward has been seen in the establishment, Dawson said, who perished long ago after being pushed into the pit. It makes sense that a 17-year-old might find it quite funny to wind people up and have a bit of fun, says the pub's manager, regarding the spilled drinks. Now, you see the video? Unless this building or table is on a severe incline, it's pretty convincing. So visit the site, frightchasers.com, click on News from the Beyond up at the top, find today's story, and take a look at this evidence. And then do me a favor, hop on over to Facebook and find us, Fright Chasers. We're right there on Facebook. You see the logo, everything, can't miss it. And talk to me about it. I'd love to see what you think, see your thoughts, engage with me. And this has been another News from the Beyond for this week in August. Thank you for listening.
Be sure to check out our website at frightchasers.com and call our haunted hotline at 701-HAUNTED. That's 701-428-6833. With your spooky tale, we're dying to hear it. Thank you for listening to the Fright Chasers.